What is going on, everybody? Can y'all hear me? Space Ghost is in the house. Space Ghost, I don't know if you got my email, brother. But Mersalt did something kind for you last night, and I shipped you out today the address I had for you. Mersalt, what is up, brother? Channel member, both of you guys. Good to see everybody. Angelo, what is up? Marco, channel member 2, what is up? Acid Test Kids, good to see you, man. Neil McKenzie, channel member, good to see you. Drink water. Maybe Lefty will pop in here in a little bit, channel member also. And, he's doing the whole being a dad, being a good husband, expanding the family thing, right? So he needs to do what he needs to do. Groundfog, good to see you, brother. And I figured we'll just hang out, kind of low key. I wasn't really sure how tonight was going to go, if it was going to, what was going to necessarily happen. But every other Saturday, Off the Edge is on the schedule, right? So what I feel like that means is, we need to be there to hang out, right? For a little while at least. I think there's some other lives. I know G Bizzle. He's sometime tonight, Saturday night, where he used to be Saturday earlies. So y'all feel free to check him out. And I know Rochambeau goes live in a little bit. I'm just here to hang with those who want to hang and show y'all a couple of cool things that had one cool thing actually come in today that I wasn't expecting to come in. On Butterknife, what is up, brother? Spencer226, what is up, my man? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Arkansas EDC, channel member, good to see you, man. Good to see all you guys. So we'll just kind of hang. We'll see what's up. Yeah, Space Ghost, I hope you enjoy it. Paul Mills, what is up, my man? It is a little Vosteed raccoon cub that just came out. I found it to be, my review I think went out yesterday. But yeah, I find it to be a very functional mini, if you want to call it that. It's a little bit smaller than, it's about the same size as the baby Banter. Ian Coase, what is up? Good to see you, my man. Hugs, hugs, hugs. No. I'm hoping Brother Lefty will be able to jump in. See, that's what I was saying. Off the Edge, every other Saturday, I forget when, it started where Stevie and Maddie would do a Saturday, and then Lefty and I would do a Saturday. And then we did that for a while. Stevie and Maddie doing said faction. I don't know if if they shuffled off their Saturday. So it was kind of like Lefty and I were doing every other Saturday. And then when he started getting really, really busy with the new house, with the new expanding, what would you call it? Expanding horizons, so we'll say. He hasn't had as much time, and it's summer, and I totally get it. So I just jump in here and hang out with you guys for as long as you guys want to hang out. It's that's what it's all about. But I got a really cool knife in today, guys. I was showing y'all a fixed blade yesterday that I'm carrying today, and this is the Big Idea Design Company Lookout. This is a little guy, little kind of clip point, drop point, super sharp, M390, titanium handle. I'm a big fan of the size. I'll tell you what else I'm a big fan of. Big Idea does a lot of cool stuff with titanium. So they've got this unique clip, this kind of propriety, I guess, to them. You don't have to use it. It comes with a left-handed Kydex sheath and a right-handed Kydex sheath. But you can take that clip off if you don't like it and put in straps or put on an ulti-clip. I really dig the clip because it carries the knife deeper in the pocket very securely. But this knife came in today from my buddies at Axial Gear. And this is a USA made, a little bit larger. This is a mid-size. I would consider this an EDC folder replacement, maybe. It could still be, I'm going to carry it in my back pocket. I don't think I'm going to carry it as a primary carry. However, it's plenty of knife to be a primary carry for what I do, which is opening boxes, making cuts, just doing the regular stuff. But I'm really impressed. This happens to be the titanium handle one. It did come with a little lanyard with a titanium matching bead that I need to put on there because they made it. But you can get this with different scales. This is just a stonewashed titanium. You can also get this with 3 blade shapes. This is, I think, the Warncliffe, even though to me it's more sheep's footy. But they've got a really nice drop point and a really cool American Tanto. So they've got 3 different blade shapes. We'll look at these in a little bit because I've just done the unboxing. I haven't carried it, lived with it. It did come with a really nice Kydex sheath. The Ulti-Clip was already mounted on it, and that's an Ulti-Clip Slim 2.2 because I've got several of them that I used to buy. I still do. I've got them for almost all my carries because I like to carry vertically. But if you like to carry with horizontal straps, you can easily remove that Ulti-Clip. You can throw some loops on there, and you can carry it more scout carry. But I'm excited to try that out, and they're totally different size knives, which I find very cool because that kind of fills 2 spots in somebody's carry profile. You know, it's not, I've got so many knives that overlap. For example, when I look at my Boker AK1, this is my RWL AK1. It's a little bit nicer. It's an upgrade from my American Tanto Boker AK1. The Boker AK1 and N690, my American Tanto that's not in here with me, has the same exact handle. Still a daily carry collaboration with Boker. Still made in solids in Germany, but it's like a $150 knife. This knife was right around $320, and I think it was right under $300 on Black Friday when I bought it. I think that's why I finally pulled the trigger on it. But it's got a really neutral EDC type handle, and it came with this kind of leather deep carry slip. And that's the vibe that I get initially off this Warncliffe axle. But what I notice is the handle, I have a deeper purchase. I mean, when I say deeper, that's probably the wrong word, and I'll come up with a better way because I'm going to put the lanyard on this just for shits and giggles. But I feel like I've got, even though those handles are similar, this up by where my fingers go, my front 2 fingers, is narrower, which results in, I've still got this nice swell here, but it results, in my mind, just a little bit smoother feel. I mean, they both feel great. This is one of my favorite, I guess, designs for an EDC fixed blade, even though for me personally, because I like to carry a fixed blade as a enhancement to my regular carry. This is an AK1N. This is the OG AK1 in RWL 34, and I've got an AK1 American Tanto and N690, both of which are made in solids in Germany, but you can pick the American Tanto up for like 160 something. And then this one's a little more expensive, and I even got one now I saw at River's Edge or somewhere, one of the sites we'll browse through here shortly, that was like in the 6s because that has a certain type of Damascus. But to me, the Alpine has the same vibe, even though this is just one of 3 blade styles, right? So when we look at the Tanto, it looks different. When we look at the drop point, it looks different. This is made, I love that. You can't, my iPhone sucks as a camera on StreamYard. If I ever upgrade my StreamYard membership to where I can get 1000 or 180, 1080p, whatever you call it, and use 2 cameras, I will invest in a top-down camera. My next investment, I need to get a second monitor so that when I get into looking at websites and sharing stuff with y'all, I'm still looking at you guys. So I'm really excited to check this out. Guys, I don't know why, but, you know, I've told this story to ad nauseum, and I'll spare y'all the whole story, but I would have never thought I would have liked fixed blades. I never looked at that section of websites. I wasn't interested in them. I would walk past tables of them at different blade shows. Same with slip joints. The Chickadee and Hair Lefty brought my attention to it as being a viable something that I found cool. And this is the one that I actually bought from Lefty, which turned out to be my second Chickadee. This one has Kyle Coonley's lightning edge on it, which is just scary. And this one's Magna Cut. But I found it novel, didn't know how functional it would be. So before I bought this knife from Lefty, or the first one that I got for a great price from Brother Honey Bear, I went to White Mountain Knives and I bought a $44 Tucson TS150, which is an S90V. I'm going to pull it up because it's such a good knife. And if it's in stock, somebody should buy it. If you use Javon 10, it does nothing for the channel except gets me clout with them, and it saves you guys 10%. So unlike a lot of my affiliate links, which pay me a commission, which I don't care anything about, I hope that my link tree is convenient for you guys to use. It's laid out well. Ooh, they had one with carbon fiber that they sold out of. Okay, guys, this is exciting. Now, this knife is smaller than the Chickadee. So this is the first knife I bought. I bought the black one right here, and I bought 2 of them. I've given them both away. They're a little bit smaller than a Chickadee, but they're very similar. They come with a great Kydex sheath with the crappy clip, which is easy to replace. But check this out. Check this out for 64 bucks. This one's M390. The others are S90V. I do prefer the S90V, but this is the same knife with a Asian fat carbon fiber for $64.99. So what I would do, if this is something that was interesting to you, because this is how I get all my Tucsons. And I bought several different Tucson fixies. I'll show you some others. See, these are S90V. I stayed away from the S90V Damascus. And then this one's S90V. This is the new offering. It's still the TS150, but I use my email. I get an account with all of my the people I buy knives from for a couple of reasons. It helps me keep track of everything because I've got a record of it. And if you guys ever want to check my credibility on what I put on my link tree in terms of the type of knives that I recommend and the companies that I recommend and why, I can show you the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars I've spent with all these companies because it keeps it in my log. This is another great small EDC fixed blade. This one's a little bit bigger, and I actually liked it better than the TS150, the first one I showed you, because it's got a contoured micarta handle. It's an M390. I gave this one away too. But it's a great small knife to see if small knives are something you're into, right? Because I wasn't going to jump on, which I've eventually, and I picked this knife up too. They're in stock right now. With Javon 10, you knock off, what, $3.90. I wasn't that impressed with this. It does have a great pry bar. I think the can opener kills it, or the bottle opener. It doesn't really hurt my grip because it does have a nice little blade. It's a little D2 pocket dropper. You know, it's got the same type of sheath where you can take that clip off. But Tucson's, for me, when I was falling in the rabbit hole, don't be fooled by this one. It does not come with a sheath. I almost bought this several times because it still looks cool, and it still would be a cool knife to have to sit around to open packages, but it does not come with a sheath, so it has not been purchased by me. But Tucson does have some very economical small EDC fixed blades. I've had this knife because I went on a buying spree because they were so inexpensive. I was trying different ones. This one was tiny. This is the Micra, and this is an M390 blade, compound ground, kind of a weird Tonto, and it's 4.8 inches long. So it was like a mini knife because that's what I was first into. Before, because I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew that Lefty had been showing me this Chickadee, which I thought was really cool. But because I've got 3 of these, I bought this one from Lefty, got a good deal because it came with an Oak City slip and a Kyle Coonley edge, and Lefty made me a Lefty deal on it. And then the first one I've got is a full flat ground S90V that I picked up from Honey Bear that also came with an additional Oak City leather slip, and I got a great deal for it. The third one I purchased from River's Edge Cutlery, and these sell for, they're American made, they're worth every penny in my opinion, but it was about a $270 knife with the Kydex sheath. And that's my 20 CV one. And for those of you who are waiting, which is maybe 3, I've done all of my collection dive videos except for what I think is going to be either 1 or 2 videos that are going to finish up my fixed blades, because that's kind of how I've broken them down. They went through my cases, and I'll do this every year to show you how it changes, but I went through my cases, then I went through my slip joints, then I went through all my fixed blades. But these Chickadees, I'm just very much hanging on to. And I had a chance to buy a 3V one back when I could have bought one, and I didn't, and I kind of regret it, from a buddy on Instagram, because I'm kind of a steel collector, I guess you'd say, with these little knives. They're super clean when you take the handles off because the scales are swappable, but it's got Jacob Creates laser etched on the handle, and it's got the blade steel that the knife that you're looking at, because it doesn't have it anywhere visible, but it's under the scale, which is really cool. Dude, Ian, you just heard me. One of the few knives, and Paul Mills will tell you, there's certain knives that I'm just really emotionally attached to. That doesn't mean that I will be emotionally attached to them next week, but Chickadees are something that I would love to, especially when I get back in the working field and get a job again, because I was making good money, dudes. I was an executive advertising digital guy. I just got to suck it up and go back to doing corporate or be more aggressive doing my own thing. But I would really like to have a lot of Jacob's knives. I would like to have them in different steels, kind of like I would like to have to collect a lot of Tyler Denny's knives. This is his Gen 2 apprentice. I've got a Gen 1 where the only difference is the Gen 1 has pinned handles. These are torqued on, so I guess in theory you could remove these handles and swap them out, because he does a lot of very fancy carbon fibers and other materials besides G10, but this was available. And this is the belt satin. He also moved the plunge grind on the Gen 2 back. But this is a little functional street scalpel. This one's in crew wear. I love the harpoon, and I love the neutral grip. When I carry this knife, I feel like it's definitely a Slurpee saver if I needed it to be, because I would hate to back into this. It would just suck, because literally if I backed into it, it's kind of got a fish hook kind of deal there. But I think it's a Slurpee detractor. But these little knives are made by Tyler. He makes a couple of other styles too. And that's an Oak City leather slip. And they're right over in Tennessee, close to Joe. I've got several Joe slips, but I dig these because you can go to Oak City's site, and let's say you got a Bradford 2. let's say you've got something else. Most knives that are like AK1s, most knives that there's in the market, you can go to Oak City, and I guess he's made enough where he's got them templated, and you've got a pull down menu. So you can pull down on this particular sheath, choose any knife they've got a pattern for, or send your knife. Choose any type of clip. I've got this one that's an ulti clip. I've got two that have more traditional belt clips. I've got this one that has a deep concealment carry clip, but you can choose that, right? You can choose your clip, you can choose your leather, you can choose your size, you can choose your stitching, and typically you don't even have to choose your size. Let's just go there, because I think, and I'm not trying to, I have no affiliation with Oak City Leather at all, except that I use them. I believe in them. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sheaths that I have from them. All of them, I want to say, were under $100 or right around $100. But so if we go to the V3 pocket sheath, that's what I've got. So they're $94. And so when you look at them, can y'all see that? All right. So he's got a very easy site to browse. So you can look at some of the different, you can get it with an ulti clip, a regular clip, just a pocket dropper, whatever you want. I've got, and so you go in here and you choose your knife. So look at all these different knives. So if I want a Benchmade, if I want a BGM, if I want a BMKT Explorer sheep's foot, I've got a Bradford G cleaver, not a G necker. Let me find another knife I've got. Combat beads. What was that? I've got a Scout Medic and a Scout. So let's see what my Scout 2.5. Are y'all seeing this as I play with this? So then I can go in here and I choose my primary leather, and I'm going to do this one in purple. Secondary leather is going to be, and I don't think there's any secondary leather, but we'll do walnut. No, we won't. We'll do dark brown. And then the stitching, we'll do purple stitching, mint green. And then screws or rivets. So I like black, but you can choose if you want the black rivets or if you want them brass. And then I like them right-handed. And so I haven't chosen my clip. So I can do no clip, mini stainless, ulti clip, and discreet carry. So that's a discreet. Let me stop sharing. That's a discreet carry clip, which is a great clip, but I'll tell you, I wrestle getting this out of my pants because it's got a little hook. These are great, great, great retention clips. This rides very deep in my back pocket, but it is a pain in the ass to get out. The ulti clip is a little bit clunkier, not much, but I can get it out of my pocket better. And then the ones that I've got for my Chickadee are just the regular clips, and that's what I would probably go with. But you can get brass rivets, you choose your leather, you choose your thread, and what I was going to show you is, if you're not sure what these different leathers are, so I don't know what violet is, I don't know what, you know, some of these weird colors are. We can go up here and we can go to leather options. And these are all his colors, right? So the one I was looking at, of course, is not going to be in there. Let's see which one I was looking at. Hold on. And you can get, you know, a canted belt sheath if you like. You can get little straps. And I love Joe Lancelot leather. I'm not saying you can get Azula scales in leather. I'm not trying to take anything from the things that he does. This is just a guy that's also does cool shit. Troy at Northwood Leather does really cool shit. A couple Jack Wolf slips. But I was trying to get back. Here's the SPK, which is a special he did with Alex, I guess, for the shark. Where's my sheath? All right, so the V3. And I was looking at violet. So violet is not a color. It is not on my leather option. So I would be basically rolling the dice. Let's go. Because I don't see violet on there. I like the navy. I've got this on one of my one of my chickadees, this Hortensia. Let's see if they've got that. Let's go to Hortensia. And then we'll get away from this because you guys know I apologize. I go squirrel brain on you and I'll jump into something that's totally not interesting to you guys. And that's the last thing I want to do because the only reason I'm here is not to talk to myself. It is to hang with you people. And I do kind of a shitty job of that. I apologize. I'm trying to get better. So, Hortensia. Yeah, I could go with the blue. But anyway, I'm a big fan of these guys. I think they do a really good job. This knife sheath was actually the deep sheath for this guy. But it just happened to work out. I got it to form really well to my Colin McGuire EDW, which is probably one of my favorite fixed blades that I sought out. After seeing it at Blade Show, I finally got it at the Nashville Knife Show. These are all made in Maine. And this is probably one of his plain ones because he does a lot of his own force steel Damascus that he takes his little ingots and he does his blacksmithing stuff or whatever you call it, where he smelts them down and beats them into cool patterns and does weird shit with it. But it's really good stuff. But for me, this is just a standard it's either ABEL or it's RWL. And I want to say it's RWL. But he's got his signature right there, Colin McGuire. And Mag 10 USA, Mag 10 Knife Works. He's on IG. I shouldn't do it, but I always take you guys on little journeys to knife makers I follow. I was just watching a video. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to stay positive. I thought about starting my drama channel, but nothing good will come out of it. Hey, look what Metal Complex has got. And this is the version next. But I just changed my scales back from my toxic. We're twinners. Except his is the next version. But that's not why I went there. But we are voodoo twinners. And I've also got some toxic scales that I picked up. What I wanted to show you guys was so this is Colin. I have no affiliation with him except I went and hung out with him at Nashville. I made a special trip to go visit him at Blade Show, and I was only there for one day. He is one of the nicest, most humble dudes.
Welcome to a disheveled and chaotic Monday morning. I think it's Monday. Anyway, getting ready for Blade. Gonna be working till the absolute last.
I would say if you get a chance, if you're on Instagram and you like following people and you're not following him, I'm gonna throw his link in here. for no other reason and that he's does amazing work. But what I was going to show you is this is not my jam, right? I don't do Damascus, but this is the real deal. So this is 1084 and 15N20. Snowbox crust cut carbon fiber scales with hidden pins. I also don't like, and he gave me the reasoning behind it for the grippiness, but I like the full relief on the scales, which you can get, but he does a lot and gets more requests for these shadow box scales. But when you look at these knives up close, and I'll show you more. So this is the EDW, the one like I've got, except this is in a 1084, 15N20, Joker scales with purple G10 liners and carbon fiber, blah, blah, blah. So check out the pattern, not just on the scales, but on the blade. And he was trying to explain to me, which it's interesting because look at that, it's glow carbon. If you don't know what you don't know, which for me it's very little, I'm an enjoyer of stuff. And that's one similar to mine, CPM 154. That's probably what mine is, CPM 154. And that is the EDW. And mine's got, it doesn't have glow carbon, but it does have liners, which you can get them without liners, save a little cash, because he makes them all by hand, literally in his garage. But what's cool, he does stuff like this. Not my jam, but I appreciate it. But what I was trying to show you, I mean, the dude is awesome. So when he does his Damascus, he's not going to Alabama Damascus. He's not going to some of these great Damascus companies. He's actually formulating it himself. Like he says, this might not look like much, but there's a lot going on in this little handful of steel. Rest assured, I'm bringing some fire to New York. So this is, now that's some Damascus he picked up, but check this out. I was trying to find his little oven thing. I thought this was very cool.
Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all doing well as always. Got kind of a wild one for you today. This has been done for over a week now. I just figured I get better engagement on the weekends, and I've got a ton of other stuff in the works that isn't finished, so I would post it today. Anyway, wildest slip joint I've done thus far. This one is one of my SJW Warncliffs in Fafnir Damasteel, blade and back spring. The spring is etched on the inside. I know the light isn't perfect today. We have that hurricane a couple hundred miles to our east rolling through. But it.
What do y'all think about that, guys? Do you think that's cool stuff? I mean, do you think that's like, I mean, he check him out, Ian. He is a super, super nice guy. He is, I've talked to several viewers who have reached out to him, had knives made from him. I picked this up at Blade Show. I knew he was making it, asked him to hold it for me. I knew I was going to be there on Friday, the day that everybody got there. He had about, he probably had about 15 of these knives, most of them in Damascus, which is what he mainly does. But he actually had this one behind the table. He had no idea I have a channel. He does now, I think. But had no idea I had a channel. Had it sitting behind the sheet for me, behind the table, because I told him the day before, and I'd been telling him up for it, that, you know, I was really interested in the knife. I told him I'd been with Beard of Doom at Blade Show 2023 when he picked up his, or was it 2022? What are we in? When was Blade Show? I'm such an idiot. June. Yeah, 2023. Doom got one, and I loved it. And Doom had a Joe Lancelot leather make him an excellent sheath. And I've got a little slip. I've got several slip joint slips. They're in my top area there, but this is a little slip I use for my little micro Wicked Warny J-Cal. I got a text from Jason today. He's back and grinding knives and doing his thing. You know, he was dealt with some unexpected upstairs plumbing repairs that required a temporary relocation, a whole bunch of shit. You know, Ian, I have yet, and I'm an idiot, but I've yet to watch Forged in Fire. Everybody tells me, my best friend here in Huntsville, A to Z EDC, who you guys should follow, says, dude, I can't believe you don't watch it. And it's something about my weird brain, the way it works, and not only short form content, because Pocket Metal actually has me hooked up with some horror movies that I'm enjoying, that I'm watching on Tubi. I do have to pause them. I don't watch them in one sitting, but I'm getting through them. And I'm not a horror guy fan. I'm just trying to extend my horizons. But I used to watch a lot of and I know this is nothing like it, but I watched Fear Factor when I was married with a little kid. I watched Hell's Kitchen, The Bachelor, mainly because of my ex. But I watched a lot of that stuff, and I think I've got some kind of psychological, the whole competition thing to me seems so stressful. And I've got a knife that my understanding is, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, Jason Knight was a Forged in Fire guy. Is that right? And this is the Jason Knight blade on a Michael Zeba S5. And guys, if anybody likes this knife, and this is an Odin, this is a full dress, crazy backspacer, jeweled with secret hieroglyphics in it. But there is, at DLT Trading, let me find it, if it's still in stock, there is an S5. This was 2021, and you take this with a grain of salt, right? This is 2021's Blade Show Tactical Knife of the year, one of the knives of the year. So this one right here, this Zeba S5, this is just like my knife, except it's a black, right? S5 number 11. These are handmade in Brooklyn, New York. It was $644. It's on sale for $379. I know it's a lot of money. M390, titanium handle. The blade is Jason Knight. Let's see what the backspacer looks like on this one. I'm just curious. Yeah, just standoffs, which is fine, but it's still got its little thing on the clip. But the action on this knife, I picked this up from Dark Gravity. I was with him in Nashville when we set up to our first Nashville Blade Show, and it was the New York City Knife Show being held in Nashville. He wanted this knife. One like it. He wasn't sure which pattern, so he got it. He safe queened it. My buddy who was with us, A to Z EDC, went to Zeba's website and bought a different pattern, same blacked out knife, and you can't see the detail on this. It's actually sick. But the knife itself, if you take out the frou-frou-ness, is an absolute tactical beast. You've got a harpoon here. You've got a tactical recurve that's just fine enough to where you can maintain it. I can't flick it from the blood groove. When I first got it, I flicked it, but it is a traditional flipper, but it's on glass. I can highly recommend it. Super cool knife. And if any of y'all are like loving it and think that's a good deal, use my DLT linked on my LinkedIn tree or link tree, whatever it's called. Y'all tell me, be honest with me, because I cannot, because my brain does not allow me to. I cannot go into all my videos. I haven't learned how. I need to go through and redo my channel all together because I've got just, I don't know how it looks to a person because I never go look at it, right? But the thing that Lefty told me about that I think from being a digital marketer is a really cool thing is the link tree. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I feel like if I post my link tree to my video or to my channel, this has my channel, my Instagram, my threads, which I don't use. I cross post there, email to the channel, my X, I cross stream there, my Clubhouse. I've got a little Javon's Knife Flicks room that we're not utilizing yet. I don't have the Discord, I don't think, on here. My Facebook. This is just PayPal. A lot of people, I trade knives. This is a good way to make sure it's me. Then I've got all my different affiliate links. And the ones that have codes, the codes are always linked here. And they're different because for some reason, C. Reisner TPK Knives has a different coding system, right? So here I can keep all of my codes and all of my stuff in one place, which if you guys wanted to go to any of these sites, you just simply click there and it takes you to the site, which that didn't show you. But I don't know if people use Linktree. I find that I used it when I was watching. Lefty's the one who I used all the time because it was convenient for me. I mean, I had it kind of as my go-to. You can bookmark it. What's cool about it is right now I'm kind of in this mode of updating it because I'm reaching out to knife companies. I'm not responding to the knife companies that I get emails on that I don't know much about. I should probably try them out because they're probably some great companies. I'm trying to stick with companies that I do business with, that I've done business with, that I know somebody there, and I feel comfortable recommending them, or more importantly, every one of these retailers, I can take you on a private, you'd have to sign not an NDA, but you'd have to tell me you wouldn't show people how much I spent. With the exception of Polish Custom Knives, I can take you to the count of each one of the stores that I recommend and show you that I've spent thousands of dollars there. I don't shill stores that I don't do business with. Blade HQ is a tough one for me. I think it's on here. It is. Blade HQ, I've had my differences there. I've made video about it, one of my only negative videos. They made it right after someone else kind of got involved. But it's one of those things that when I got into the community, I've always been able to find knives there. I've always had good experiences there. The one time I had to return a knife, they made it right and got me another knife out to me before I sent the knife back. Angry Tom, what is up? Good to see you, buddy. I haven't been saying hi to people like Jeffrey Dawson, Joe Isabella, the man, the myth, the legend, my buddy. I've just been kind of talking. Guys, I'm bad at that. And y'all tell me. I mean, I don't know. I need to. I've got the Discord set up. I think we can make calls on that. I should be able to pipe you guys in to where you can chat. Because I want to know what y'all think. What I want to do is, I don't look at it as a show, as a live stream. I look at it as a hangout. And if I'm not responding to the chat, if I'm just showing you stuff I think's cool, or showing you my link tree, which is kind of self-serving, but I just want to make sure that's an easy way to do it. I don't pay anything for the link tree. It does have a little thing that allows people to subscribe to it, and all that does is it notifies you when I add another link, and I'm sure it gives Linktree your email address. So whether you want to do that or not, I get it, Demon Knock. What is up, Demon Knock? But I want to make sure that when I go live, whether it be every other Saturday or for Friday Night Flicks, that it's something that y'all get value out of spending your time with me. For example, this coming Friday, I'm kind of excited because I met Austin at Traditional Pocket Knives for a very short time at Blade Show. I went to his booth, said hey to him, but he's going to join me Friday night for Friday Night Flicks just to tell me a little bit more about C. Reisner Cutlery, Traditional Pocket Knives, what he's working on, what they've got coming up. Because I saw a lot of things when I was at his booth kind of the I guess you'd call it, for lack of a better term, the evolution of the Ohio River Jack thought, and he's doing some really, really cool stuff. Jeffrey Dawson, amen. Satu Dave is a gentleman, a scholar, an absolutely talented machinist, a humble, giving, not afraid to show, share, and help other people learn from him. I've never had any really interactions with him outside of, I've met him twice at Blade Show, which were the solidifying moments, but we've communicated back and forth kind of through scotch and things. And then he offered, when he first started grinding blades, he was looking for knives to grind. So I sent him some knives to grind, like this Formax, which is one of the first he ground. And then I sent him a Tucson, I want to say it's a TS 346 with a big ass blade. And I sent him my 8015, which now has titanium scales. And this is the OG, or the original Formax, not the Italian one. It might be the Italian one. No, it's the Taiwan one. But this knife is sick. I've got a knife that my buddy wants me to send him, that I've got to send him, and I've got a Hinder that I want to send him, but I'm under the impression, I know he'll do it for me. He said he would, but I don't want him to do something when he's working on the next stage of his goal. Because I think Satu, I don't know if this is even his ambition. I don't think it is. But I think he could be one of the most talented builders that we have seen, and it would be something that we would see in our kind of hobby lifetime, because he is so far advanced. I mean, if you look at something as simple, and I say simple, I don't know how to grind a knife, but if this plunge grind has been moved, this hollow grind on this Formax is so deep and so sick, and it's 100% even. And when I sent him the Tucson, which I ought to go grab out of that case, when I sent him the Tucson, it had a black blade. I expected it to come back with a silver blade because he was doing the same treatment to it. He freaking matched the color. And this all happened in 3 knives. He did a video Sunday. I sent it to him on like a Wednesday. He did a video on Sunday. I had the knives back Wednesday or Thursday, all the way across the country. I was like, please don't rush. Do other knives. I'm sending them to you because I don't carry them. I do now. This is my size comparison knife, and I got the 8015 titanium scales, which, guys, I'm gonna have to grab that knife because it's an absolute game changer. What it does is it gives you bearing pockets and it shifts with skiffs. Give me 1 second. Let me try to do something, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm just walking across the room. Let's do this. See, if I was smart, I would have inserted a commercial there. I'm kidding. I don't know how to do that. But I hear commercials are random. So what I went to do, the reason it took me a little longer is I went for 2 cases. I wanted to show you guys this Tucson, which is available right now at White Mountain Knives. We will go look at it. This is a knife I bought on a whim, and it's the beefiest Tucson I've ever gotten. And it's got this little pin, and I sent it to Satu. It's on washers. D2 steel. He blued it. 2 big slabs, I've taken it apart, of non-weight relief titanium. And then it's got this little screw. So I'm not big into making a folder as close to a fixed blade as you can, because I'm always one that says if you're going to spine whack it, make sure it's a fixed blade. But it came with a little thing that also I use as a novelty. I just kept it, but it locks it in. And this knife is under $100. I think the anodized one is like 118. But check this out, guys. And I feel bad. That's why I want to send off the Hinderer and the Pena and my 80-20 or my 80-10 is because I felt like I didn't send Satu good enough knives. I didn't know, he was saying he wanted to practice. I had no idea. And this knife's not been sharpened, guys. He did not want to put a final edge on it. I don't know what that means. I just know that it's freaking sharp. And I expected all this to be just raw metal. And he blued it. But this knife's on washers. Let me show it to y'all, because I think I've given away almost all my Tucsons except for about 3. And I'll show you why. The ones I've kept, I've kept. Because I'm a weirdo. Everybody likes different knives for different reasons, right? All right. Sorry, guys. I'm coming right back to you. My White Mountain Knives is not wanting to. One thing about White Mountain Knives, I love them to death. But there are days and times when the site gets very buggy. I don't know if they're doing updates. I know they add inventory, and I don't know if that impacts the site or if it has anything to do with my internet. I don't think it does, because my internet's all I use. I don't have cable. I use internet for everything. So it'll show you, of course, I thought this was kind of a neat looking knife. M390 carbon fiber, wicked weird grind, $134. And I'm sure it's built well. I haven't tried it, so don't quote me on that. But what I was going to show you, because I noticed that it was in stock. Am I sharing? Because sharing is caring. I've had that knife and gave it away. That's a great knife. This. Now, I wouldn't get one with the strip detent screw, but this one stayed in my collection. I saw this on an early knees knife, and this is one of my first Tucsons. You can get it on Amazon too. It's the TS129. It's an older model, but it's a great one. This, I've had this one. I wouldn't get one with detent lash. A lot of these you could fix. A lot of these people get, they don't like it. There's going to be a Viper Handy coming back in stock. The guy that puts it in stock is out of town. It is a green. I've got this knife. I've kept it. This is a Colin Mason Pierre knife. Fantastic little knife. I've not given it away. But it's a Viper Handy, a fixed blade. The black blade, Magna Cut, with an olive green handle, and it'll be a return. It'll be about $15 less. I don't know why it'll be returned, but it was sent to me for a review. Justin was nice enough to send it to me, or Austin was nice enough to send it to me. Justin was nice enough to send it to me to check out it and a little CJRB knife. I sent them back to him, but he said he'd just sell it as a comeback. Now I've had both of these knives, not in these fancy patterns. This is a fantastic knife, and the fact that it's now an M390 is even better. I love this knife, the TS301, and I can also tell you, and these have been given away, some of y'all have won this, the TS300 is a great knife. It's now in M390. When I had it, it was in 14C. And again, it doesn't want to open, but it's a wicked Tonto. I'm not crazy about the Anno. Deep hollow grind, Mokhtar Mokhzari design. And for the money, Tucson does great. The knives that I like, this is the one I had, $115, but mine was in 14C. Still not the one I want to show y'all. I've got this little guy, which is not a little guy by any stretch. I had this guy, gave it away. I was really pleased with the ergos and the uniqueness of this design. Something that Tucson again does is takes unique designs that people design. This guy was a Wong design knife, K110, but it was well under $100. This is the exact one I had. One of you guys won it. Front flipper with great thumb studs, but a really good knife. And then you can use Javon 10, save another 10%. This one's interested me. I've never bought it, but it's a very interesting knife. Kind of Spyderco-y, but it's got a different hole. It says it's a frame lock, but it's not. It's an internal liner lock because I don't see a frame lock anywhere on it, which is probably even better. What is it? What's the blade steel? Blade material J01V1. Do y'all know what that is? I'm not looking at the chat, but we'll have to go back. That's something new. So I've seen that design before, but I've never heard of that blade steel. And I would tell you the number of this knife and just look it up, but when Satu blued it back or put the color back on it, it covered up what it was. But I know it's here because I saw it the other day and they had two versions in stock. And I wouldn't be surprised if they offer it. I had this knife. I sent it to Maddie. This was a cool knife. Really well done. And I bought it because I was very impressed that they made it. And anytime somebody makes something cool, and at the time I had expendable dollars, I could afford it. And I'm glad I did. I even got one of those little weird knives. But guys, I'm struggling to find... And they've got two of them, so I know it's here. Because even if it was sold out, it would say sold out. I've had that knife. That's a good one. It was a good one. I gave it away. Hopefully you guys that have gotten the Tucsons enjoyed them like I did, because I did really enjoy them. Had this knife. Had this knife. You guys won those. But where is that big honkin' Chungus? Because I want to show y'all some close-up pictures. That's not it, but that's a cool one. I've been interested in that because that looks like the same build, a very similar build. This was a nightmare. I did give it away. I apologize to anyone who's cut their finger with that because it gives you a hot dog down the hallway feel, which I did cut my finger with it a couple of times. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? See, that's the D2 version of that knife that I showed you that was now M390 with more carbon fiber and a nice little pivot area. Where is it? Damn it. We're getting close to it. I know we are. I will be so dejected. I've got one of these pins too, right behind me. These are nice pins. I've been pleased with it. There's that little TS 140 or 150. Great little fixed blade. I know I'm going to find this knife. Or like I said, if not, I will be so dejected. I'll probably come back from looking for it and there will be nobody left in the chat, which I deserve, and that's fine. I love y'all anyway. I might stay here for 15, 20 minutes and just continue to talk to myself because I'm going to find this effing knife because I think somebody would really like it, and it's a great one. It was a slicer before I sent it to Satu, and it was enjoyable because it was so big, unexpected, and overbuilt. I'm not seeing the goddamn... There it is. So it is the TS346. Not in stock, but it'll be back in stock. Maybe in a better blade steel. Mine was in D2, but that was the original blade that Satu ground and then matched. Except for where it had that. He couldn't match that. 9 inches, 7.58 ounces. Stop pin to make it a fixed blade. It doesn't make it a fixed blade. It makes it a knife with a stock pin in it. And this is the other one they have, which is the bead blasted D2. But this knife has been so popular, like the other knives we saw, the TS150, I would not be surprised to see it come in with a better blade steel. And it's got this really full back spacer that has Tucson light branding and Mokhtar's, whatever his name is, name. But I can highly, highly recommend this knife when it's back in stock. I don't even know if I was sharing that with you guys. I might have been just talking to myself, ignoring the chat, running people off left and right, but I wasn't doing it on purpose. But this one broke in really nicely. It's a washer knife. And I think I told a lot of y'all last night that I've been doing this little science project where I've been putting washers, thick washers that I got from Skiff. They're like $8. They're less expensive than bearings. But instead of replacing knives with Skiff bearings, I've been replacing certain knives with Skiff washers. So this is a thick washer. This is the same size. I had to use my little guide to find out which size I needed. But the washer simply takes the replacement. It's the same thickness, so it fits perfectly in the knife as the bearing. But it's now on a thick washer. So I swapped that one out. I took my Buzz. Great action knife. %100% locked up. The only thing is you don't have just absolute drop shut action, which to me is not that big of a deal. I like, and it's because of my old age, it'll still drop to there and then drop down. This is one that works really well on thick washers. But it gives you a totally different feel for a knife. The other one I put it on a hinderer, took it off the hinderer, because I've run my hinderer tri-ways on washers quite a bit. And they're okay, but they're not all that. But my McNeese 3.5 Mac 2, I'd heard from Steve over at Steve's Skiff that people really liked washers in this. They happen to fit perfectly. He'd actually built them off of one of these knives, so they're a great fit. And I will tell you, I thought this one was going to definitely be for science because I loved the drop shuttiness of this Mac 2 3.5. But guys, washers make this knife better, in my opinion. Because I don't have a problem closing it like that. I don't have a problem slow rolling it. I guess because when I've got some other knives that were more slow opening knives, like the Strider can be, or like the Spartan Harseys can be, they're still snappy if you want them to be snappy, but there's something that's tactile or tactically pleasing to me that used to not be. So I'm a big fan of washers. Used to not be. I don't need them because I'm an urban guy, so bearings are fine for me. And there's a lot to be said for drop shut, but we've all cut ourselves on drop shut too. So that's just my little experiment turned observation that's made me think, you know what? I don't mind these. I don't mind the washers over the bearings, which takes me back to my original point for getting up. My cold steel 8015 that I sent to Brother Satu for a hollow grind, which is perfect. It's absolutely slicey. I ordered these scales and I communicated with Marty and them through the whole process. The scales weren't the issue. I didn't understand, but they were having to get a special size washer that was being made overseas. It's the only overseas part on this scale. It's a little washer. I didn't know why, but these scales are milled for specific skiff bearings. So when they ship to you, they ship with these small washers and they ship with skiffs. So when you replace your scales, you take your washers out, you put in the little washer that goes in the titanium liner, and then you put your skiff in. And now I've got this sweet 8015 that is on bearings that has a wicked hollow grind. Because Satu is just that much of the man. He left the point thick. I don't got good lighting for that. So you still got a thick point. You can see where he cut the hollow in here, but you can also see that it's perfect. He is so hard on himself. So I can only imagine him being whatever he chooses to do, making knives better or making his own knives or making scales. I would feel comfortable. What's up, pizza operator? I would feel comfortable with him doing anything for me because he's that good at what he does. And these original goat scales were worth the wait. It was a long wait, guys. For scales, it was like I'd forgotten about them. Put it that way. Ooh, man, Midway Mersault has some really good prices. That's where I got my 4Max. Let's go there. Because I've not been posting up a lot of sales, so to speak. But if there's some good sales that we can take advantage of, we'll look at them tonight. I'm not scared. And I think cold steel, a lot of makers, I know Kaiser's been blowing some out. I know that a lot of makers are moving old stock. And a lot of times when it says add to cart for price, that's a good thing. $39 for a cold steel 8015 Lite, which will accept scales. It's just OS 10 instead of S35. Let's see what else we got. an 8010 Lite Tonto, marked down 35 bucks. I'm not crazy about the Tonto. I'm not crazy about the 8010. 4MAX Scout for 49 bucks. I had a 4MAX Scout, guys. I'll give you a cautionary tale, and I got it off of Amazon, and it was not real. It looked real. I wouldn't have known except somebody pointed out to me that the logo had a little box around it or something on the Cold Steel side. But Midway's, they buy from Cold Steel, so it wasn't an Amazon store, even though I thought Amazon at the time was totally legit. Let's go. So they've got the Big Daddy for 172, which is still, that's about what I paid for it. So it hadn't gone up. It's not as good of a deal as the Lite. And if it were me, looking at what I use the knife for, looking for what I've had done to the knife, looking for what I could mod the knife for, I would grab the Lite well before I grab the S35N. But this has been a site. I haven't been there in a long time, but I used to because I haven't been buying knives because I'm unemployed. But they've got some really cool stuff. Depending on what you like I think they've got cool Cold Steels, Benchmades. This has kind of been a neat knife. That was a $150 knife. It struck me, even though I'm not a backlot guy, but it's S35VN, carbon fiber-ish handle. It's got that weird blade hole. It's on sale for 69 bucks. That's not bad. Again, I don't know much about it. I've just looked at it and thought, well, that's interesting. What else we got? Proud of the Max Hunter, which is probably a nice knife. See, I don't know enough about Cold Steel, except I do know that they have a lot of different trim levels, i.e. you can get a very inexpensive knife or you can get one with a lot nicer stuff on it, right? So I don't know if that's a good deal or not. I don't know what the steel is. I don't know that it matters. OS 10, so I'm sure it's a good price. All right, so here's the Max 5 Elite, which, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that is made in Italy. It's 35VN. Or is this the Taiwan one like I've got? Oh, the 5 Max. Yeah, much bigger than the 4 Max. Duh. I went goofy on y'all there. But anyway, they've got a good selection of NAS. So, and they do ship them. I've had, here's an 8015 again in a blackout. I've had good experiences with them. I've ordered, I think, just my 4 Max. But my buddy A to Z also ordered a 4 Max from him because he saw mine. And they were $199. I want to say they were a very good deal. That's kind of an interesting looking knife. I've had a new appreciation of ring knives. But yeah, Midway's got it. What's going on, Stephen Clayton Jr., Arkansas EDC? What is up? Yeah, guys, there are a lot of really good sales out right now. I just have not been paying attention to them. That knife, Tim Kell told me, try ring knife. You won't regret it. If you don't like the ring, you don't have to use it. So I picked one up at Blade Show when I met them, and my fingers are not, I've got a medium large size hand, but I don't have real sausagey fingers. So this knife fits me fine, as does the Night Stalker. Just taking the ring out of the equation, right? I could have it cut off and I wouldn't miss it. But It's so thin and it's rounded out so well. You got this little skull crusher, kind of like a pry bar thing there. Makes for a great, great grip. Heaven forbid you need to go into Slurpee Saver mode with it, because these are tactical knives, but they're also good EDC knives. It's small, smaller than both of these are smaller than my bug out, and this guy has one purpose. I mean, this Nighthawk it's slicey. You can cut with both grinds. You've got like 1 inch and 1/8 at that front tip, and then I want to say let's see what our right under 3 inches on the flat there. But again, super slicey and piercy. I mean, so piercy. You got this really nice swedge. This one's in AEBL, and this one is in ADCR V2. Both of them have a nitrite boron coating that make them very, very corrosion resistant. Up the HRC, make them harder, make them very resistant to scuffing, scratching, even if you're beating the hell out of them. Which are great knives to really beat on. I consider these hard use EDC knives. And almost just pinched my finger, which would have sucked. I agree, Steven. I love their ergonomics. I really, really do. I mean, I'm a huge, huge fan. Chris229, what is up, brother? Ring 10. Happy day after 4th, Nick. Let me say it right. Nick Travagellini. I think you changed your name. Nick Travagellini. Nick Travagellini. Michael Upchurch, it is. Now, it's not the S35VN, but you don't need that. I mean, you think about what you're going to use this knife for, whether you have it reground or you don't. It's just to me, and this is the thing that Lefty and I disagreed on from the start, which is when I realized I could gain a lot from his perspective, because things he automatically hated, I would buy and like a lot of the time. This has got I forget whose clip it is, but it's got an aftermarket clip. This was the black one, but I put the titanium scales on it. But I would not know the difference in this knife and the Scout with the same mod. I don't even know that I would be able to tell the difference between the FRN that Cold Steel utilizes from the G10. I just don't know that I would. I think it's very possible that I would. Donnie, how are you, my man? Chef Rocky, what is up, buddy? Good to see you, man. I hope everybody kept all their fingers and had a great 4th of July. We kind of had an interesting deal here where one of the local pools that's not close to me, it's about a mile away, but they had a fireworks show that was, I could see from my house, it was pretty banging. And then the elementary school where I went to school, which is now kind of turned into a frou-frou school, which is all good, but they had a big fireworks show. Both of them really loud, both of them done very well, and I'm sure they had city approval. Not that that matters. I prefer, we used to shoot bottle rockets at cars driving by. I enjoyed kind of the thug life of being young in Huntsville. I was a big fan of it. But it's good to see you guys, man. Very good to see you guys. One thing we will check also, let's look at River's Edge Cutlery and see if they've updated. I don't know if you guys check websites as often as I used to and do still. I don't care about points. I usually go to new arrivals and I see what dropped. And these are the same Protex, which right now, guys, there are a lot of different people that have a lot of good Protex. They've also got these titanium tenacious, which mean nothing to me. And then they've got these Brian Brown Civivis, which are pretty cool. River's Edge Cutlery doesn't have anything necessarily new, so we will switch over to GP Knives. Did that take y'all with me? Nope. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share again. And I do this, guys, in hopes that y'all enjoy looking at stuff. I don't go to stuff that's coming in soon because anybody can. I just want to see what's in there. Viper knives. This knife, well, it's all right, but I want to show y'all a knife. I think they have it. And I reviewed this knife and sent it back to White Mountain. And I kind of want it back. I kind of want to buy it. The one I had was this one right here, except it was olive micarta. All right, we're going to call it natural. I thought it was olive. It was this one right here. Guys, I don't know if you watched my review, but this knife is so good for a medium-sized. I don't like the billboarding, but it's a Viper Knives, handy. It is a, I want to say, is it a Vox design? Maybe not. It is Italian made, but it's very slicey. They say it's heat treated at it shows it's where it's heat treated somewhere, at least the number they gave. But if you can tell this scale, you've got this really nice contouring. Let me pull it up somewhere else. Hold on. Hopefully y'all go with me. What? Yeah, you can tell a little bit better that handle's got a really nice, I think of it, because I'm a skateboarder, and I look at concave and convex around your feet, and you've got this nice swell that runs the ridge of this micarta handle that really, really is comfortable. Then you got this jimping in the choil. Again, a Magna Cut blade. It's not a Vox design, but you've got jimping that's done really well, a swedge that's done really well. I had a hard time sending it back, but that's what you got to do. I couldn't buy it at the time. Usually I will. Had things been normal, I would have definitely bought it, but you can get it in G10, you can get it in walnut, you can get it in, this is walnut wood, this is poplar wood, you can get it in Ultim. I kind of like it. G10, dark matter carbon fiber. But anyway, it's a cool knife. And let's see what their sale was, because I haven't checked that yet. I just saw it pop up. Oops. And I like to, I can't do it on my phone. I can go in and I can sort. I only want to see shit that's in stock, like filter it. But I don't know how to do that. Here we go. In stock. That's what I want to see. Only in stock. So this has gone back up, but I had the Kaiser Sheepdog. I think Paul Mills won that. And it's back up to the $80 range now. But the mini Sheepdog with aluminum handle was on sale for $48. The CJRB Pyrite Bowie. Best Tech Slasher, not familiar with that. A couple of Two Sons that have struck my attention. This is, I would say, winner, chicken dinner all day long. The Vosteed Mini Nightshade. I'll stop sharing for 1 sec. But the Vosteed Mini Nightshade, I've had 2 minis. I got this one from CountyCom. They let me check it out. This is their exclusive in Ultim. I just did a video that nobody's watching. I don't blame you. But I adjusted the springs on it because you can put the springs in 3 different places. If you look in there, it almost looks like a little gear shifter. and I put the Axis spring or the Axis style spring in the middle slot, which makes it a little harder to pull back, but it also makes it snappier. But this knife with this little shilling cutler blade or whatever they call it is just a banger. So we'll go back to White Mountain Knives, and that is the aluminum one, which is $90, 154 cm, has aluminum handle, which I think that's cool. Wait a minute. Why does it say arriving in February? Huh? Something was weird on the arriving in February, but I can add it to cart. Shilling Cutler. Anyway, I'd check on that one before I bought it because that's weird. Then we got some Migurons on sale. I'm a big fan of Miguron, not necessarily those. You got a Kubi Ruckus. Cool weed, but I'm not that big into ring knives. Elementum Lynch clip. I don't think I have an Elementum. I think I'm giving all those bad boys away. Good knife here. I've had several Metamorphs. Aluminum handle. I want to say it's N690. What's the blade steel? 14C. Super stabby, super pokey. Top flipper for $34. I mean, if you're looking for something that's gentlemanly, that's thin, I'd grab it. $34. Put Javon 10 or somebody else in there. Save you another $3. These are all going to be the same thing. So we're going to get out of here and we're going to check out Blade HQ just real quickly. And then we'll check out Discord. We'll see if we can make a call. Let's see. Blade HQ. Boom. All right. Delaney, what is up? What's up, MPG EDC? Good to see you guys. Meredith, good to see you. Good to see you, Delaney. Louie, good to see you, buddy. Sorry, I've been out. Demon Hawk. I've been out looking at websites, looking at different sales, seeing what's up, sharing with you guys, and I hope you find it somewhat entertaining, educational, informative. I'm not crazy about this, although I find it unique. It looks like it'd be fun to chop on stuff with. Kind of a pry bar, slicer, sawer. I just don't really know. Let's see. It's developed in collaboration with blah, blah, blah. Production run, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's made for something well outside my use. And these are coming. They're not there yet. I wouldn't pre-order anything from anyone unless it's a pre-order from somebody that you know that you're supporting in the maker, but from a dealer. I would not pre-order. I'd wait till it dropped and then I'd buy it. But I'm cool. I'm glad to see the Tagadow in minis. I'm interested to see it in the studs and with the hole. I always like the look of the hole. I can tell you that the stud, the grind's thinner here, I believe. But here you've got a lot better snap. At least I found it to be the case. And then they're 940 in Magna Cut, which is pretty cool. You can get it in the mini, you can get it in the 940, or you can get it in the auto. Good to see them do something different, right? It's going to be $261. No thanks. But that's just, you know, it is what it is. But what we were going to do is we were going to look at sales. We weren't going to look at new stuff. We're going to see what is still on sale versus what is sold out. Livewire 214. Not crazy about that price. Much. Let's see if I see anything that just blows my skirt up. A Griptilian 109. That's not a bad price. 940 for 216. paid less for it, but I bought it years ago. Mini grip for $109. I've got one of these guys. It has terrible sharpening choil, but it is made or was made by ProTech. If you're looking for a little pokey stabby, looks like you got grips, you got some bug outs, you got some launches, and you got some. I don't get this. I don't get these guys. I just don't. I know I'm missing it. It's just not my jam. It looks like it should be made out of Play-Doh. It looks like I just don't get it. And there's so many I do. I really like the live wire. I've started to appreciate out the fronts, but I appreciate out the fronts that can be used as EDC cutters more so than I appreciate a dagger type. Because again, I'm back to why carry a fixed blade? Because you can spine whack the shit out of it. Somebody can come after your Slurpee and you can detract them and not worry about it folding up on you. Zombies could come after you. That's why I think it's good, even if it's small, to have a fixie on you. You might still reach for your stitch. I've been interested in this. I haven't seen scales for it yet, but that's the micro Yo Jumbo or Yo Jimbo. $183. I'm not mad at that. Is it 20 S30V? It should be S45. I thought somebody told me when I picked up, let's stop sharing for a second. I thought when I bought this breast cancer awareness little native, that Spyderco was moving all their standard bills to S45. That's just what I thought I was told. Now, that means I was told third party. It means it's hearsay. And it means it's probably not true. But I can tell you that I don't love my scales. I picked these up because I did like them. I like the way they looked. I picked them up at Nas Plus. I'd buy from them again. But what I don't like is they're not textured. So they're very smooth, titanium scales. Kind of dressed it up. But I love this knife. It's a good slicer, but it's really a zombie stopper, right? And I almost think that mini would be more handy. This knife carries a little bigger. It's got the best detent. Whoops, as I fail it. It's got the best detent, or strongest detent, I should say, of any of my Spydercos. I think it's sexy. I think it's kind of wicked. I've cut myself with it. It's got a very sharp tip, like a splinter digger tip. Made in Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. I'm a fan. Yeah, and I guess, guys, Lefty is going to blow me off. Hopefully he's sitting in the... If you're an urban EDC guy, why are you spine whacking any knife? Dude, I joke. I don't spine whack knives. I've kind of gotten in a bad habit, and it's almost out of sarcasm, when I unbox one and it's a button lock, that I feel like I need to spine whack it. I can see... I can't ever understand spine whacking a frame lock. I mean, because a frame lock, you're going to lock up when you hold it. And I think fixed blades, if you're going to really get into the down and dirty, now you're not always going to have a fixed blade, but I'm not going to whack it unless I'm doing like an over the head, getting ready to come down hard on something. And I hit something backwards. I don't know. I just don't. I think in my urban, you're exactly right, Demonock. So I agree with you 100%. In my opening Amazon boxes, in my cutting paracord, in my cutting down some cardboard, I'm in good shape. That's why I don't worry about it. And I shouldn't. There's a word I was going to actually I was actually going to talk about it tonight, and I'll tell you what it basically means. And it's, I wish I could think of the name. It's given out in the scientific community when you have armchair experts that have just enough information to consider themselves experts, but they haven't put in the time to test their theories, their ideologies, or whatever the case may be. And in science, usually it's a lot of testing, right? And I go back to metallurgy. I had a good friend whose dad passed away at a really young age who was a metallurgist, and he was a really not famous, but he was a very well-known metallurgist in the North Alabama area because he worked with a lot of the space program and developed, there's a lot that goes into making different steels perform at different conditions for different yields, yada, yada, yada. I think that's why Magna Cut was so tricky, and it's tricky for people to nail. Because, what is the best HRC? Well, what's your best use? And I think, and I'm not calling out anybody, because I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge, but I'm a digital marketer by trade. I've been doing it for 12 years. I've both been trained and I constantly train. So I constantly read, I constantly do webinars, I work with our platform to see what's changing. And I know that there is no such thing as a digital marketing expert. I will tell clients, if anyone comes in, because they do, and they say, hey, this is my digital marketing expert, they're here to answer your questions, you should run, because there is no such thing as an expert. And I think when we get into a community like ours, you're going to find a lot of people with a lot more knowledge. I know that Stasa, I know that Jared, I know that other people that cut a lot of materials. I know Blades and Fades, who sharpens a lot of knives, Jared's, are going to be able to speak to things much more intelligently than I would ever try to. And I wouldn't try to necessarily, because I can tell by sharpening if a steel is good or bad. And I'll be honest, for me, I haven't bumped into a bad one, but I don't think it's because I use them to their full extent. That doesn't mean it's not valid, but I think we do have a tendency. I watched the video tonight. I'm not going to bring it up. I have twice now. That's kind of funny. I'll eventually turn into a gossip channel, and my views will go up, and my people will be like, he used to be the kind, look out for the guy to your left, look out for the guy to your right type of dude. Now he's just spewing hate. Just pointing out things that I noticed. But I think if you've got strong opinions, you should have open Discord and talk about them, but they're not scientific absolutes. And I can reduce that to a specific use case. HRC and different blade steels. Yes, we all want the best we can get. Do we want the highest HRC on the scale of what is deemed optimal by the steel manufacturer, say Crucible? Pitt, man, I hope it goes well, buddy. It will go well, and you will be dancing in no time. Howdy, Crazy Roach. But so, I guess, I know there's some that are much more what's the word I'm looking for? Because I want to use the right word. Much more comfortable. And I'll use the word comfortable because that's much more comfortable talking about those subjects very definitively. And you would almost have to be a metallurgist. Hey, Jim Gardner, or have the same knowledge of structural metals. And then you'd have to take it to another step, which the metallurgist doesn't, unless the few that have applied, Larry Thomas, that to steel. But then you're taking the word of one guy who I feel is a genius. And if you really read what he's saying, because I've tried to, he's not saying, I used to have a Kaiser Sheepdog MPG EDC, and I had a Sheepdog Mini. Actually, I had two Sheepdog Minis, but I never had an XL. I know it's huge. And I know it's a great knife. I know that all the Sheepdogs that I've had have been great knives. Hopefully Paul Mills has gotten his. Having a knife made by Edgy to chop. Hey, let me tell you what, Space Ghost. Edgy's making some killer knives. He is one of my BFFs. But I had a Jack Wolf sent to me by Ben, his personal knife. It just came in a little envelope, not even in a box. I used it for a week. I knew he wanted it back because it was his knife, and I sent it back to him. He found me a blim through another dealer that I am going to buy. I'm actually saving for that knife. I'm not buying it at full price because it's a blim. It's got a little issue, and it's the color I wanted, but it's got a little issue where they ran the screws the wrong way, which is fine. It's not the type of thing that would ever bother me. But I think the Midnight Fix EDC is one of the most perfect little, for me, who likes to carry a knife in his back pocket, who likes smaller EDC knives, who likes slicey grinds. I don't get mad at them. I mean, I look at this little Lookout that I love in M390, a little small knife. It comes in right around $200. I look at the Alpine, it's USA made. It comes in right around there, close. And then I look at knives that I feel are every bit worth every penny, USA made, and they come in starting out at $275. So I don't get mad at the 240. And I know it's different with the slip joints. I know people, I didn't get it. I didn't get deep into it. I never had one given to me, but I did buy, this is the first one I bought, and I find out that I carry this one or my Feel Good Jack 98% of the time in my left pocket over all my slip joints. And I've got some really, really nice ones. I've got some cool Fox. I've got a Viper. I've got a Hug. I've got a really nice Max Ace. I've got some nice, I've just got some nice ones. Yeah, the Bradford G Necker, and I've got Space Ghost, the Bradford G Cleaver. Let me show you that. Hold on. Let me do my fancy shit. Hold on. Tommy, can you hear me? So, I've seen the G Necker, and I've got the G Cleaver in LMAX, which I don't think it looks like a cleaver, but I love the point. And it's that Natrix finish. And I've got it on Ulti Clip. It's got a little bit, for me, a little bit wonky grip. I like the fact that it's thick in the grip, and this is an absolute laser beam. Whoops. Whoops. But I'm a huge fan. Huge fan of Bradford's. I love my Guardian that I traded with Shane. That was, he had a Guardian 3. I don't think I got it out here. But it was too small for him, and it fit me really good. It came with the what's up, Kyle Coonley? I was just showing off your killer blade, your sharpened job. I need to get some more to you, but you'd probably like to be paid, so I'd have to be in a position where I could pay you, and now I can't pay anybody. I am not of the what would you call it? I'm not part of the engine right now. Where is my... I'm trying to get my here we go. Get my little thing going there. But Meredith, it is an absolute hoss. Demonoc, you're definitely cool. And I'm not, again, it was one that I wanted to check out because I think I told the story. I went to Blade Show 2 years ago, and I'd finally talked myself into and had saved up for a Jack Wolf, what I thought was a low drag, and it turned out being a low drag. I sent out to buy a Feel Good and bought a low drag because it was on sale for like $20 off when I saw it because they were doing some little sale. But anyway, I went to Blade Show, not this past year, but the year before. I showed up at their booth, and I was all ready to look at slip joints because I'd made a mental decision that I'd bought a couple that I was going to at least own a Jack Wolf to see what it was about. Because I can't tell much by just playing with one, opening one. I can appreciate it. I can look at it. I can cut with it. But to just keep it in your pocket and live with it, to me, is when I determine if I have a relationship with that knife. So anyway, they had the gunslinger out, the first locking knife. I looked right past it. I mean, it meant nothing to me at the time because Jim Gardner needs a wrench. Hold on 2 seconds. I think I can do it from right here. Hold on. Oh no, he was timed out. Let me find Jim. Hang in there, Jim. Breathe through your mouth, buddy. Breathe through your mouth and you'll be fine. All right, you are now safe. Let's do this real quick. Let's go. Let's try to find something decent to listen to. But I really was curious about that little knife because when I went to get my slip joint, which I didn't buy at Blade Show, I bought when I got home. But they were all like, "Oh, you got to look at the gunslinger. It's the first locking knife." I was like, "Guys, it's taken me a year. I'm all around locking knives all day long. I love them. I'm glad you did that. I think that's great, but that's not why I'm here, right?" And so this year, it was just the opposite. I was just kind of going by. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, and I saw them. They had them all out on the table. I wasn't even aware that they were a thing, right? And they happened to have a Warncliffe, which was the Midnight, and I picked it up. The first one I picked up was the Tie. I loved the way it felt, but then I saw I forget whose exclusive that Abalone was, which was gorgeous, and just the absolute size of it. And then when I got to playing with, that I really, really, really dug, because to me, it's one of the most important things for me about an EDC fixed blade is how it carries. And the sheath is not only done so well, it's short because it's a short knife. For my hand, it fits perfect. For my bigger buddy, A to Z EDC, he felt no go. You know, not going to even think about it. But for me, it was perfect. And it's got an ambidextrous sheath because it's got that kind of diamond dagger shape, so you can put it in either side. I carry it in my back pocket. Works great. I mean, I haven't done it yet. I've not pulled the trigger on it yet. But I'm absolutely pulling the trigger on it. And it's not cheap. It's not USA made, but it's USA designed. and it's what I feel to be quality materials for what my sissy boy urban EDC don't cut a lot of anything that's even that important, and always have at least 3 knives on me. I've always got a slip joint. I've always got a folder of some sort. I think I'm carrying a weird one today. The arc form theory. I don't know if y'all seen this knife before, but that's a really, really impressive knife. It was one I took a gamble on. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, and I bought it. I think I bought it at White Mountain Knives. Tri-State had it on his channel, but it is so thin. Whoops. Super pokey, and it's just simple, right? It's easy, comes apart easily. I would have thought the studs might have been a problem, especially with the reverse flick, because a lot of times when you have these studs that have weird angles, even though they're jimped all the way around, you don't get the best purchase. And this one, which I'm not a good thumb flicker at all, this one, it just hits where your finger naturally goes. And on the reverse flick, it's exactly the same. Even though you're hitting a different area, I think you just got so much surface area to connect with. I really like this knife. I don't carry it as much as I should because it is so functional as a cutter. Mersault, I don't do resumes, buddy. I'm past that shit. I did that for years. You can go to my LinkedIn profile. I can send you names of people to talk to, or I can just help your business do better, and you don't have to even hire me. How about that? It kind of does. Nobody listens to Eric. The one that looks the most like an Arius to me is my Kungwu Padre. The Kungwu Padre is all, in my mind, inspired by an Arius, even though they're very different in handle shape, very different in grind pattern, very different in quality. Jaws volume get quiet. We probably need a, that should be less explosive than it was last night. I heard that they were too loud last night, so I tried to turn them down. Was that too loud? Palmer, it absolutely does. It doesn't look like an Arius. It doesn't look like a copy. They look both. They have what I consider to be sexy, stylistic similarities. I had the Padre before I had the Arius, and when the Padre first came out, was that too loud? Kyle, I thought it was quiet. I've turned my effects way down. Here's my favorite one. Check this out. I'll even go quiet for this one because you might feel moved to hold your head. Something about that, it just soothes me. It gives me the warm, it makes me feel like I'm standing on this fog-covered, elevated green, and then I'm getting ready to chip, and instead I slip off the rocks, and I get road rash as I tumble down into the sea below before getting fed on by a shark. So yeah, bagpipe music really moves me. In good ways and in not so good ways. But trying to think what else. So Friday night, everything works out. Brother Austin from Traditional Pocket Knives will be joining. He's got some pretty cool stuff in the works. I'm not familiar of what that necessarily is, but it's something that he wanted to share with whoever comes and joins us. And I think was that Rob playing kazoo? Guys, I just deleted off something that I record shit on my phone all the time off my little amp, and I tried to run straight into my soundboard, and it wasn't. I looked for a kazoo sound, and I could not find one. I did find a sound. I was trying to find sounds that would be celebratory. Hold on a second. And then one of them sounded too much like Buddy Rochambeau. Which one was it? It was this one right here. Hold on, it wasn't bagpipes. It wasn't that. Maybe this is it. No, that wasn't it. It was maybe I deleted it. Or is this one? What was this one? That's the one. I don't dig that. I don't dig this. Because that sounds too much familiar. And then this one. Night, MPG. Yeah, it is not, it's 10:42 here, and I have not shit to do. So I can totally get it. Battery status fully charged. Well, I hope so. That was a weird message to get. But yeah, I get it, guys. I know that, and there are other lives going on. Like I said, when I get the schedule, it reminds me every other Saturday that we do our little off the edge thing. And I always feel like, even if one of you come, or if none of you come, I can tell you what we can do for fun. We can look over here and see that no one, because I also stream this because StreamYard asked me if I want to my Twitter account. A lot of people say they don't use X. I use X only for posting knives. And look, we're streaming live there with one viewer, actually two. But see, all I do is on Twitter is stream and post knife shit. The same stuff that I post on, I repost the same exact stuff that I put on. If you go to my Facebook, which I don't use for anything anymore, but you'll notice that we're live, and for some reason, I think that's a share. I don't know what that is. And then I'll share some music, my beautiful daughter, my buddies, but I don't, the posts that I make, I used to make a lot more. Like if you go through my Facebook, you'll see that I went to a major skateboarding, and I still do. I just don't do it as much. Most everything for the last forever has been knife shit. But if you get further back, you'll find some more life shit. I mean, I had this account since, I want to say 2010. That's my passed away because she was old, German Shepherd, and Luna, who also passed away. They were best friends. That's when they were young, playing at my old house when I was still married. They're the best dogs. But anyway, I had a lot of stuff like that, on my page. I had music. I'd wish people happy birthday. That's kind of pretty nice stuff. That's Ashley and Tippy. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's Ashley and Tippy back in the old days. That was in 2014. That's my daughter in 2011. She was always steezy. And then that's when I was getting into YouTube. That's when I was starting. That's an old picture of the shit I used to get myself into. I had to buy all those motherfuckers. Every one of those cookies that people ordered, I had to cut a check for them. And hope that we got them all sold. Dismiss, go away. But so yeah, that's what my Facebook is very different. So I used to on the regular skate 6.5 miles a day, right? That was my deal. My daughter was a swimmer. I listened to weird music. But most of this pre-nice stuff is all skateboarding stuff. And hippie stuff. So yeah, those are all my socials. And the cool thing is if you get an email from me now, which most of you do, my signature has this little tap tag thing here, right? And the tap tag thing, I don't know how to get to it. Let's see. It allows you to download my contact information and all my socials if you want to your phone or to link to it. Where is it? Anyhow. But yeah, that's my LinkedIn, but my tap tag is more my personal get in touch with me if you need to type thing. But it's a lot better than business cards. For the longest time, I had those business cards that I made through Canva, and they're great, and I use them for my other job, but they're so non-green and they're so non-efficient. And to me, it's just kind of, why mess with it, right? Ooh, Alpha Fox 78. Let's do that. Hold on a second. And I don't do a lot on here. Alpha Fox. $78. So I need to go to people. It's telling me there's nobody there by that name, which can't be right, right? Or is that a Alpha Fox 78 should go back to school? Late 45. Why is he showing up trending, but there's no profile for it? All right. See, I don't know how to use. Y'all help me out here. I'm going to share my screen. I bet you I can find it. Let's see if I go to Instagram, because people repost shit. I've learned from the drama community. They're people that are professional clippers. I told y'all about the weird message I got saying my account was getting ready to get shut down because of some kind of weird bot-like activity, which is bullshit. I'll just go ahead and tell you. That's not it. All right, I'm going to go Alpha Fox 78 fireworks. I'm not finding shit. Kyle, you got a link? You're a mod. Throw me something up there, brother. Throw me something to work with. Throw me some love. Help me drive this biatch. Let's go back to while we wait, let's go back to Blade HQ just because I haven't been there. And guys, I don't go to Knife Center anymore, but I started my collecting by that's a good deal, by just shopping their sale pages. I hate these liners. Hate them. But the original goat scales lets you get rid of those liners. They're linerless. Which the cool thing about that is you then get a perfect EDC knife for me. I'd say right now, my Mannix is probably my favorite Spyderco. Although I have multiple PM2s and I love the form factor of it, and I love I love my shop. I love a lot of Spydercos. I don't carry them enough. The Kaiser Aggressor. Kathleen, that sounds very familiar. Let me pull it up. I want to say it's similar to, I had the Hiccup at one point. Is that it? I love the fact that very little blade is exposed. It's got what looks like a very well done front flipper. Fantastic price. What's the size of it? 7.4. I've never experienced one, but I guarantee you they're a lot. Like I'm sure Bees has done a review on it. Paul, I saw that. They were 102. They went back up to 127 before I shared it. Delaney, they were at GP Knives, I think. Paul, tell me if I'm wrong. Because they jacked them back up after the 4th. They're 129.50 now. I think this is the one that was 102 before taxes. For a day, right? It was for where the fuck is it? Right here. Still a good price, but it was a fantastic price. Is that where you got it, Paul? GP, yep. So it's jumped back up, $20. Kathleen, is it a lot of times with front flippers, my instinct thought is to go to the highest part where the flipper is, but like on a lot of Devo's knives, they actually flip better. And the geometry is if you get closer to the pivot, that wasn't a good example. And is your pivot maybe too tight? I doubt that's it. A lot of front flippers, there's certain ones, for example, this Buzz. I can flip, but it's not intuitive. And this is on washers now. I'm not a huge, it's my least favorite, we'll call it, way to open a knife. Now, this little Berg is done very well because it's got this little kind of floopty-doo. Let's see. It's got that little whoop-de-doo there that makes it really easy, but I still go for the middle finger flick. This is a great small knife, a knife that when it first came in, because I had the full-sized Sweeney and I traded it because it was a little big for me. It was about PM2 sized. And then when this came in, I thought, damn, that's just a little bit small. But it really turns out that it's not. That my natural go-to is a smaller knife. Because keep in mind, I'm usually carrying a slip joint, which I don't use that much. And I'm always carrying a small or medium-sized fixed blade in my back pocket. Yeah, Kathleen, because what we can do is we could do a private one of these where you come on and we look at it, and it may be just finding the right spot. Because to me, front flippers are so unnatural. It's not a natural way for me to deploy a knife. I'm looking for another front flipper, and you'll notice that it's the least represented. It's the least represented knife in my collection because I really don't like them. I even say it on videos. But like this one here, even, I use the clip to get any type of leverage on the knife. And then you just have to find, usually it's not the very top. It seems like it would be because that's where your finger wants to go. But I get more snap keeping it closer to the pivot. And if you do that weird reverse flick thing, which I hate because I end up stabbing myself in the back of the hand, it's also operating off that middle area. So give that a try. And a lot of times, like the Eutectic Trinity, I had a really hard time flipping the first version. And then Leon sent me his second run to check out, and I've given both of those away, but it flipped totally different. And what you find with the Kaiser, the assassin or the aggressor, you've only got that deployment method. So it should be tuned to work from that front flipper. It's probably just not the most intuitive spot that you would think it would front flip from. And that's one of the things as a knife guy, knife reviewer, guy that carries too many knives, knife addict. It's not uncommon for me to carry a knife and be totally comfortable opening it and closing it. And they can all be the same middle finger flick, which this is kind of on the larger size hole, but it's still, my finger doesn't go through it. So it's fine. This has got a front flipper that they tightened up that I cannot use because this is the ones that came back with the tighter detent. But I don't like a front flipper. So to tune a knife for a front flipper, it has to be lighter than for a traditional detent knife. But you get used to flipping something, and it's almost like you're carrying something using your left hand. It's so different. It takes me time where I can get very frustrated with a knife and just put it up because I've got other knives that I know I can actuate better. But it really, to me, makes a lot of sense to get used to the knives that you like opening them. And sometimes it takes, a lot of times, thumb stud knives with me, for example, this has been kind of a bear. It takes a little bit of callus because I'm not a good thumb flicker. So I can't really get much of a thumb flick off that stud or that plate, right? But I can reverse flick it all day long. It's actually got a really tight detent. But once I get where I have to get under the stud or under the disc, I can do it pretty much flawlessly. But it's different than the Voodoo. Which I think makes the knife game kind of fun. It makes it ridiculous in a lot of ways because the bottom line is I need to open a package or, you know, I need to cut this, that, or the other. It's not really, but I think we'll all agree that what draws us to knives, at least me, are the design elements, even though this is the most basic bitch knife, and I mean that in a very positive way, just basic knife. I don't mean bitch to be any misogynistic term at all. So I apologize for even using it, but that's just a term that I've heard a lot. Very basic knife, but it's very, very effective. The blade cuts very well. The aluminum handles on this model, I think, are great. It does have the adjustable axis springs. With after going through my long nightmare of a video of making these one little area tighter, I don't think there's any need for it. I think it's kind of gimmicky. If you want to do it, fine. I switched out when I got my Kunwu Pulsar. It came with light springs or shipped with regular springs. Then it had heavier springs if you wanted to increase your detent. I did it right away. I couldn't tell anything. Grizzly Bear, that's not uncommon. Is it a frame lock or is it a internal liner? I forget what the Voodoo is. Because there are a lot of knives that I can lock up. A good example is my little Chavez Street. So this is thumb studs, and they're very sharp thumb studs. But if I have my finger anywhere on this lock bar, I've got that knife almost locked down. So what I always do on all frame locks is I get comfortable putting most of my pressure towards the top of the knife in terms of my grip between the thumb stud and the pivot, and just lightly resting my back hand and the front of my hand on that clip, because that takes all the pressure off the thumb stud, and it's a little more difficult to reverse flick. But a lot of times it could be where the studs are positioned. It could be I've had to work up calluses because it's just uncomfortable to open certain knives, and that's just from the thumb stud placement. But for me, I lock up more knives, and I've gotten rid of knives because, and Lefty talks about it all the time, being a left-handed guy, that if you're forced to put pressure on that lock bar, you're in essence holding that detent ball against the blade. So depending on how much traction you've got, which on the Chavez Street, you've got a little more traction. I'm trying to think of one. This little guy, because it's so small, is kind of sensitive. So if I've got my hand on this lock bar, it really affects its opening. And it's got a thicker detent. Plus, it's got no jimping on the studs. So I really like this knife. It's a little Ware Alley P. Takes a little getting used to in terms of if you've been carrying other knives. I'm not a big thumb flicker guy, but I can actually thumb flick this knife better than I can reverse flick it. But it's because I've learned to put most of my grip up here on the pivot to where my hand is very loose on the rest of the knife, but I've got a sure grip on it. Let me take a look at that. Let me go over here and let me find that link. Where'd it go? Boom. Let me share it. Ooh, that's a sexy knife, though. Okay, so it is a frame lock. So what could be happening is your back finger, if it's resting on this bar here, it's going to be putting extra pressure, locking your detent ball into your detent ball on your blade. So try resting your back hand right on this clip. Put most of your pressure where you're gripping it up at the front here. So let me find a knife that's similar to that. So this Jaeger has the center hole and it's got a detent ball that matches the blade right here. That's what keeps it locked in. That's what you've got to break to get the blade to snap out, right? So I just naturally go for the back of the clip because I don't want to put any pressure on this lock bar, which is where your finger could land. Because when you do, you're pushing that detent ball into your detent hole. And Demonoc, for some reason, thumb flicking for me I just failed it there. It's not as natural as a reverse finger flick. And I don't know if I have the same, I mean, to me, thumb flicking is, I almost have to give it a little wrist twist, not as much wrist flick, but a lot of times I will drag my thumb across the blade, where a reverse finger flick, because by nature, I'm taking pressure off the lock bar because I'm using the back side of my hand to finesse it. But I really like my XM18 and my other Hinder flipper tabs too. I love my flipperless Eclipse, but even holding it with two hands. Grizzly, how long ago did you get it? And where did you get it? Because I bet you. Yeah, but you want a knife that you can enjoy, right? So if you got it from somebody that you could replace it with, or if you reach out to Dave, I know he just had a really bad e-bike wreck. I talked to him; he broke some ribs. But Dave Warren at Tuya Knives, he'll I bet you he could work with you at either lightening the detent, because you can do that too. I don't feel comfortable doing it on frame locks as much because there are a couple of different ways to do it. Yeah, Mark, and I'll tell you, my 3.0s, these guys are so much more touchy than my 3.5s. And a thumb flick, forget about it. It's a pain in the arse. Reverse flick's fine. I love the little flipper tab, even though it's a little light. Yeah, hopefully he'll work with you, dude. He's a super, super nice guy. I've got a Big Belly, one of the first Tuyas I bought, one of the nice ones when they first came out. And then I bought a Cebu that was a much less expensive Tuya, but it had a warped blade. They were produced by I forget who, but he was more than, and this is long before I even had much of an Instagram. I was just a knife guy. But he was very, very accommodating. I think he had to get me a different color. I think he had to get me an OD green because that's what he had in stock for replacements, because you order extra when you're dealing with OEMs, but he'll take care of you. Because keep in mind, when they set detents, each one's set differently, even if they're using the same machine. I had a video that was excellent, but I deleted it before I uploaded it. I did a video on these knives, and this detent, this lock bar insert that holds the detent ball just snapped. So I flipped it, and you heard this snap, and then it had no detent anymore. And when I turned it upside down, the detent ball fell out. So at the time, I didn't know what I was working with, because you could tell that this little piece of metal, this lock bar insert, had shifted. What I didn't realize is it had broken. So it had snapped just because of weakness in the metal. And it happens, right? So Noel sent me out a lock bar insert. I had no idea how this was going to work. I'd never done this before. And guys, it's fitted in there so tightly, so perfectly, like a puzzle. I got it out fine, but it was just, to me, it was a marvel of machine excellence. And he said, be careful, or don't be careful, but be aware that each detent is set for each knife. So your detent may change. It may be lighter, it might be heavier, It might work in, it's just going to be different. And I haven't noticed any difference in it. It worked out very well. The only thing, and I don't know if you can see this, he was all upset because can you see that little black thing in the corner right there where the lock bar is? See the black? He said, I don't have any more silver lock bar inserts. He goes, I've only got black. And at the time I had some jungle carbon fiber scales on. I was like, well, I've got black scales and black hardware. I don't care. He was like, are you sure? I was like, dude, not at all. I appreciate you making one available to me. But with a frame lock, if it was a liner lock, because I got my F5.5, which was I had the worst detent on my Urban Supply Company F5.5 for like 2 years. I never messed with it. It was just not snappy. It was just poo-poo. I could shake it out. And I finally took it apart, and it's got a titanium liner, not a titanium frame, but I got my little I'm trying to reach for a little stick. I've got some little CountyCom plastic pry bars, and I just wedged it back in the lock bar. So I was putting pressure, making the lock bar stiffer, and I let it sit for a while because titanium's different, right? But I was able to get my F5.5 after about 2 hours to be perfect. Now, I would assume I could do the exact same thing in reverse with a frame lock. I'm more nervous on a frame lock because I'm dealing with actual structural stuff, right? So I wouldn't want to bend it too much. But this is an interesting knife because it's a front flipper that both snaps very well as a thumb flicker, which I'm not a good thumb flicker guy, but all the detents work well on it. And I asked John why they didn't put the traditional flipper like they do on all other EMP EDC knives. And he just wasn't pleased with the action. Because again, if you're a designer or if you're looking at mechanical engineering of any kind, you can't have multiple deployments that are all set to the same oomph. That's not a scientific word, oomph. But really, you can't. You've got your front flipper has to be a little lighter. Typically, your reverse flicker, you want it a little snappier. And to get them all dialed in, I think there's a lot to be said for that. I don't know if y'all remember because John Rusk, and I know others had done it, but when this knife first came out, I saw it on Lefty's channel. This was the first real massively available multi-deployment knife. When it first came out, it was kind of a hype machine that lived up to the hype because it's a good knife. This is the generation 1 or 2 frame lock, but you've got a low profile flipper that works very well. You got a front flipper. I hate front flippers, but it works very well. Middle finger flicker works very well. Thumb flicker works very well. So that's what initially set me into thinking, okay, this is different. This is something unlike anything I had before, right? And I thought it was kind of cool. And then he had other knives. The second knife that he put out was a flipper only or flicker only. No, nothing here, just that. And again, he wanted to keep the same feel, but there was no way to. It's just interesting. Again, I don't know anything, or we'll never design a folding knife that I could ever think of why I would. Don't think I'd ever design a fixed blade unless it was just something I really, really wanted and there was somebody that wanted to make it for me. But I get so many good little knives like this knife that's not made anymore, this little Marlboro handcraft, little prick, it's not for everybody, right? It's a 3-finger small knife. But for a enhancement carry that is a slicey little beast, that's just a neat knife. I mean, again, I would never think I'm going to design a knife like this because that's going to change the way I need a knife. I've never had a situation come up where I go, this knife would be perfect if it had this, or that. And I think it's because I'm not that picky. Yeah, they're knives I don't like the way they feel in my hand. They're like knives that I like less than other knives. But for me to hold a knife and go, man, I could do a lot better than that by doing this, and that. CDC Hansen. Hey, Grizzly Bear's looking to trade for a certain Hansen. JD for EDC was my hero. He traded me back in the day my carbon fiber, blue Arctic carbon fiber, Lush, Devo traditional pocket knives Lush. He was nice enough to trade for his camo carbon fiber, which is the color I originally wanted. They sold out first. He got it because he thought he wanted it, but really liked the Arctic carbon fiber. We saw each other's videos, and it worked out. So he's still got that knife, I think. I know I've still got mine. But Grizzly Bear, you will find somebody to trade with you. That's all I've been doing lately, and I haven't been doing a lot of it. But since I'm not in the knife buying world, I do consider trades from time to time. But I'm kind of a hoarder. And I've got knives that I've been collecting for giveaways. So hopefully I'll get the giveaway game up to be a little bit more frequent. I try to have a giveaway every Friday night at least, but I'd like to have a member giveaway and a regular giveaway every Friday night. But I am getting more partners. So you guys, again, this isn't to pump my link tree, but if you guys ever are looking for certain knives and you remember to use it, especially if you're looking at deals through manufacturers, it makes them want to send me more knives. The retailers, not so much, but your Vostiges, your Kaisers, your Q2s. I've only had one of these knives. I wasn't even that sure if I wanted to be an affiliate, but when I realized they had Reich, I knew that I did because I like a lot of what they do very much. Again, I don't have a lot of them. They're not my jam. I reviewed this. My buddy A to Z has one. I had this knife, sold it to A to Z. Cool, different stuff. Again, I don't expect to do a lot with it, but it's something that I believe in. So it's a good knife. But if you guys are looking at concepts, CMBs, Civivs, if you use those links, it just gives me more power to say, send me more shit, please. Because what's weird is I don't get a lot of stuff sent, which is okay. I don't deserve a lot, right? I'm not expecting it, but it's just that I feel that I'm getting to the point to where I can get you for the cost of what you're sending the knife in for, a lot of exposure. I can make 2 or 3 videos, different videos, do countless Instagram posts, and then give it away on a live stream. So that's a win-win-win. They get a knife in somebody's hand, they get promotion, and most of them are very open to it. But I'm still not the guy, and I probably won't ever be, who gets the box of knives, right? I want to get a box of Kaiser knives. Not because I want to keep a bunch of Kaiser knives, just because I think it'd be cool to be the guy, not because I want to get them out first, but I like to give back. That's one thing that I really love him or hate him. I think Metal Complex is an absolute community champion for the simple statement that he makes over and over and over that rings true, and y'all need to listen to it. But he'll say, of course I want to give away knives. What else am I going to do with all these? They're given to me. So that's the way it should be, right? If a knife company forges a strategic partnership with you to help you pump your channel up, what's up, Gracian, to give you content and to, in their truth, because I'm a digital advertiser, they need a way to get their product in front of people that are interested in possibly buying their products. Um, but it's just a huge win to and they cycle a lot of knives to a lot of different reviewers. Some I don't know why. Some it's not my business. And I know it goes back to relationships, but not everybody, not every reviewer, hey Miranda, has that same philosophy of it's coming back to you guys. I mean, regardless of support, the fact that y'all watch my content, that I've got a knife that was sent in, why would I not make it part of a giveaway? I don't see why there wouldn't be more. And also, while I'm ranting, because I do that from time to time, guys, and I'll eventually, yeah, but I don't see why you would necessarily, I do see why you want to grow your audience, right? So if you put giveaway in your title, you're going to have more people come in. And that's a good thing because a lot of those people are knife people that probably hadn't been to a live that'll stick around. But I look at it as from a strict numbers game, if I'm doing a giveaway and I've got the same 60 to 70 people that come see me every week, do I want to flood more people into my live to lessen the chances for the people that are there every week to win? I'm not that guy. Mallory Designs, what is up? The man, the myth, the legend himself. My Mallory Forest is in a case over there. Is still, Dylan, one of my all-time favorite knives. Absolutely banger. Y'all follow Dylan Mallory, Mallory Designs. Has some of the coolest knives in the game. Does a lot with artisan cutlery. And is just a fantastic dude about my height. So we're both average height people. We fit on airplanes very comfortably. Yeah, I mean, he's not Metal Complex. I respect him for a lot of things. I used to not understand it. Metal Complex doesn't go to Blade Show. He never has really. And I think part of it for him is, yeah, he's got his family, this, that, and the other. But Metal Complex, with the amount of clout, which is what social media goes by, the amount of influence that he has, he knows with great power comes great responsibility. So if you don't think that, and I'm not saying Metal Complex is a type that would even entertain this, but if you don't think that people would not be after him in a good way to have relationships to help promote their products, and I don't think Metal Complex has ever been in it to promote products. He's in it because he likes knives. He makes a fair enough living through his AdSense, through his affiliate links, through just being a trustworthy pillar, I'll say, of the knife review world. You know, a lot of people say, well, he's not that tied into the community. Well, he is, because he's reaching more of the community in mass than any of us are. He doesn't have time or doesn't want to get dragged into, in my opinion, a lot of the underlying stuff that's not really positive or knife related, right? I dig him. I mean, I've really given him more credibility, even though he's what got me into the knife community. Him as much as Blade HQ, Zach and Ben and Metal Complex. I mean, that's kind of what I was watching. And there's some things that he's done that's turned me very sideways. And I think he did it without fully knowing what he was doing, trying to do the right thing. Neither here nor there. But stand-up guy, I support him. I urge you guys to support him. He doesn't need it. He's blown past 600 and something thousand now and hadn't had time to put together his 500,000 giveaway, which to me, as a small creator, is so encouraging to see somebody like he and Jared succeed at such a level. It just shows any of us, whether we're in it for the community, in it to learn more about knives, in it because we might want to start a channel, we might want to start an Instagram. It just shows you that there is a larger and larger conglomerate of people who are interested in that shit. Who I thank Metal Complex, with I haven't thanked him personally, but I thank him for making such a successful platform for himself. Because believe it or not, a lot of our videos get suggested from time to time, or there might be a guy like I was 3 years ago who was a guitar player who had no knives, who got into this weird thing, right? So yeah, I think it's all good. I think he's a good one. I'm not gonna ever make that video, and I think I've been around not very long, but long enough to know the people who I will watch and who I won't watch. I like them all, most of them as people. There are a few I don't, but and I like pretty much everybody, but it's just there are different reasons I think for people doing what they do, and I don't think they always start out for the reason that they finish up with. I think it's a journey type of thing, but you could make an absolute, and people would hate you, but people hate watch, so that's audience building too. But you could make a weekly show going through pointing out bullshit, and I could point out my own bullshit, but pointing out bullshit that goes on weekly in reviews and stuff. It's just the way it is because it's a subjective game. There's not, you can have an objective measurement, an objective weight, an objective blade thickness, but everything else is 100% subjective. So I might really love this knife, or Berg Blades could have come to me and said, hey, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars for each one of these you sell. That's not the case. I don't think that's the case for many guys, but I think it happens. I know there's certain content creators that I'm very close with that I respect for a lot of different reasons, who put in their description what their rate is, i.e., you'll send them a knife and a check if you want access to their platform. And that's one way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's basically sponsored content. And it's part of a, hold on, guys. I got to get tipped. Give me 1 sec. That's exactly right, Todd. And I was not going to call her out because I don't think it makes her content any less valuable. I don't think it makes her content, it might make it a little less objective, but advertising's been a thing forever. And what a lot of people don't realize is this industry, from what you're seeing on Instagram and some of the other things that are just happening for small makers, they don't have other channels to advertise. So if you can find someone who's got credibility like Melissa Backwoods, who's done what, 2-3 stints on Naked and Afraid, so she can definitely talk the talk, walk the walk. But she's personable, she's attractive, and she's a spokesperson. That's what she does. And I'm sure her coming from Hollywood, that's not where she came from, but she came through that route, that she's got an entire managing structure around her that, you know, kind of dictates the way that she runs her business. I don't look at, mine's not a business. I don't have a, what are they called? I don't have a limited liability under Javon's Knife Flicks or anything. Mine's a hobby. Always will be, always is. I like to see it generate return from time to time, but it is what it is, right? It's just it is what it is. And I realize that so much of what's important is putting on. Exactly. Donnie, I'll tell you who else is very good, who I'll say he's easy on the eyes, and I have no homosexual tendencies, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think he does a good job, is Ray. I think Everyday City Carry puts together good content. I think he gets knives in a very short, concise way in front of people, and I think he is a good brand ambassador for somebody. I think bees. I think there are a lot of them. Neves, Trusted. I mean, there are a lot of people that would be good brand ambassadors. But part of that is, I think to be effective, and I'm just talking from out my ass, but I think to be, and I don't even know what longevity in this game is, but I think your number one responsibility is to your credibility and to the people who choose to watch your shit. So, regardless of the relationships, everybody that's on my link tree, I reached out to because they're companies I did business with. And I've had several say no, that don't, they don't do that or whatever. And that's fine. I'll still talk about the knives. I'm not going to not be that guy. But I would not have 20 times the links and have companies that send me emails that want to send me a shitload of knives to go through and talk about, because they want you to not necessarily do an ad, but they've got a different way of doing it, where the companies I work out with and work with, they know if I don't like it, I'm not a negative review guy. I'm not in it for clicks, because that's part of the game too. If you shit on stuff, regardless of the product, you're going to get a lot more people engaged with it. So my whole thing is, I want to point out things that I wish were different. If I see a major problem, which I've done twice, and this is before I had anybody send me anything, these are knives I bought with my money. And there are companies that I reached out to say, I don't feel comfortable doing this video. Have you thought about this? I didn't get answers. I didn't do it. The first one you've had pop up. What'd you have pop up? Did you have an ad pop up? Or I don't even have, I think I have ads turned on at the beginning. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's showing that my monetization's on and my automator's on, but that's just, I think, for people that are watching. There are Snow Trog, and I think Shilling, I forgot who said it, but I know who said it. I'm not going to talk about it because I agree with the sentiment that they said it with, but I don't agree with the person saying it, and don't think that the reason that they said it was the way that I heard it the way I did. Demonock! Dude, you don't have to do that, man. You do not have to do that. We're just hanging. I mean, that's awesome to do, and thank you so much. If you want to do that, we can definitely do that, but never, ever, ever, ever feel that you never need to do that. But I do appreciate it, and we can do that. We can do it however you want to, Demonock. But the thing that I found, I think being enthusiastic about things that I love, brands that I love, EMP EDC is a great example. I mean, I like these guys from the Nimble. I like John and Jamie Rusk as people. I like TRM knives because of the designs. I like them because of their people. I like certain knives that I like that I'm really enthusiastic about. And some of them I like to explain, like the Hinderers. I never was a Hinderer guy. I swore I'd never buy a Hinderer. I didn't get it. I finally, for some reason, Dark Gravity, tried his 3-inch and held on to it because he wanted me to use it for more than a day. Because, guys, you need to, if you're thinking about a long term tool, unless you just love it, sometimes knives that you don't think are going to be your jam turn out to be way your jam. But I can talk to people enthusiastically about a Hinderer, and I can say they're not for everybody. They're more expensive. They're American made. I used to think they were clunky, ugly, and I get it if you do too. But I now have I've got 7. And I started with a 3-inch XM18, and I've just kind of collected them because I like them. Same thing with the Strider. I only have 1 Strider, but I have 3 Strider designs. So I think shilling to me is people send you stuff in. Everything's great, right? This is the best ever, best ever, best ever, over and over and over and over and over again. And I think knives do get better and better, but there's got to be, you've got to have a kind of a baseline, I think, for what you think, right? It's just, I think I have no problem getting behind a brand or a maker and telling my audience, which again is the community that chooses to tune into my channel, what I honestly feel about maker, brand, particular knife. And once I do that, I can do it very enthusiastically where somebody might think, well, you're shilling for that brand. Where in reality, I can honestly tell you that I'm excited about that brand and I want them to get reach based on my thoughts. That means I've had people reach out to me through my email that have gotten knives that I've recommended that they weren't crazy about. And not everybody's going to like the same knife. And the great thing is all the companies I put as retailers, they'll take the knife back. If you get a knife from Blade HQ or from White Mountain Knives or from GP Knives and you don't like it, you send it back. It's fine. They don't mind. They'll swap it out or they'll give you a refund. So I think being enthusiastic about knives, for example, for me, I'm very enthusiastic about EMP EDC knives because I think they're totally unique. I think they're totally functional. I'm very enthusiastic about Devo knives. And I wanted to hate Devo knives. Not hate them, but I didn't want to see, it wasn't, the stout didn't do anything for me, right? So I was thinking, okay, this company's not going to speak to me. I still only had a pony stout that I gave away. I tried out a stout. I thought it was a great knife, but it's not my jam. I love the mashes. I have 3 of them that I bought. I have 3 nips that I bought. I bought this guy. I did have, there are 2 nips that I bought. I did have 1 nip sent to me from Lefty to try, but that was one that was a 2.5, and then I took it apart and cloned it to a Frankenstein. But the bottom line is, I only want to talk about things that I like. If I come across a knife that's dangerous or shitty, I'll point that out. But I also want to share that with the person making it, right? And it's true, Ed. And a lot of times we're fanboys or fangirls because we've had great success from a brand. So I will never recommend anything to anyone on here that I wouldn't recommend to my cousin, my brother, my uncle. I obviously feel strong enough about it to talk about it because I can do videos I've got enough knives that I can do like different combination videos that aren't pushing this knife or that knife. They're just talking about knives and why I like them, or categorizing knives by different cutting geometry, or there's all kinds of stuff, right? There's a lot of ways to do content. One thing that I've got to do, and I'm hoping to do it next week, is I've got to go to Knives and More, and I want to do, what's up, ATK? One of the best knives coming out, y'all. Follow Addicted to Knives and check out, throw the name and a link up. Addicted to Knives, let me make you a mod. Hold on a second, buddy. And throw a link up to your knife, because I think it's the knife of whatever year it comes out. This year, I saw it at Blade Show, handled it. Lefty's done reviews on it. It's absolutely killer. It is sick. You should be a mod now, buddy, so you could throw a link in if you want to share links. But yeah, guys, that's the whole thing. Is I think to shill just for the sake of shilling, i.e., personal gain, is not a good thing. I think to enthusiastically pump up companies you believe in, it's a good thing. All right, I've got to do a remote. Y'all sit tight. We've got a visitor. Sorry about that, guys. I thought you wanted to see Possum Cam. So that is one of the two possums that comes and hangs out. Um, he's got a buddy, and they're not small ones. They're freaking they're marsupials, and they only live to be 2 years old. I was totally flipped out by that. They have the shortest lifespan of, I think, any marsupial. Kathleen, it's a juvenile. Um, from what I've learned, it's probably a teenager. And guys, let me grab my forest. Hold on a sec. So I've got the OG. I remember when Dylan was on, I forget if it was Lefties, but this knife is so refined. It's so thin. Fits my hand perfect. Has an awesome, awesome choil. And I've checked out the newer versions. They're great. I just hadn't been in a purchasing position when I've been around them. And I'm a huge fan. The blade geometry, the blade shape, the forward finger choil, the action, The size, I mean, it's just perfect, guys. I mean, Dylan killed it. I had a Centros, and then I had, what was the Kaiser? Well, not the Kaiser, the Civivi, the Hadros. But this is a great knife. This is the Mallory Designs Forest OG or V1. Just an absolute fantastic blade. I sharpened it once on my TS Prof. The blade steel feels freaking fantastic. It's sharpened great. An absolute winner. Guys, I need to check something. I think we've got a midnight live with Zach, but I'm not sure. Because we've been going 3 hours. And the last thing I want to do is cut in on somebody's midnight live. Check something here. And maybe Zach's going tomorrow. Let's see. Saturday Night Live. Was it 4 Saturday Night Lives? And let's just do this. Y'all probably know. I think Zach's probably going tomorrow. Yeah, JD was definitely earlier. Mallory CJRB is sick. I think that was the I had that knife too. I actually had the blackout, the special edition. But guys, we have been going out of over 3 hours here. I didn't know. Did somebody want to do a giveaway, or do we want to do one? We can do one next week. You can chip in on it. Was it Demon Hog or Snow Trog? I'm going to let y'all out of here because I've got to get to the border, aka Taco Bell, before midnight. I appreciate you guys coming by so much. I really do. I love each and every one of you. I wasn't planning on being live tonight. I was hoping Lefty could jump in, but he'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be double dadding before long. He'll taking care of mama, which is what we want. Guys, I love each and every one of you. As always, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please, guys, look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.